I got this. Hey, Raider, you looking to blow stuff up?
Eurogamer just tried to tank Arc Raiders' review score by giving them a 40% rating on Metacritic, dragging the aggregate from 94 to 84. Why? Because the game wasn't good? No, because the writer didn't like how Embark Studios built their game. They didn't like that Embark used actor data and a text-to-speech system to generate new lines, saving weeks' worth of work. And everyone got paid. No stolen voices. They did it right. Eurogamer gave Concord a 60%. They felt the $400 million flop that shut down in 11 days was better than Arc Raiders. And to top it off, they gave Call of Duty Black Ops 7 a 3 out of 5, and zero mention of its generative AI for calling cards and banners. It's a travesty. But Embark? Radio silence. No temper tantrums, no slap fights on social media, and that's not arrogance, okay? That's a masterclass in PR and production priorities. They're letting their game speak for them. Today, as an ex-producer and studio manager, I'll autopsy why Embark gets it right. Customers over critics, brutal honesty with players and themselves, a CEO who leads without commanding, a smart publisher that's backing their visionaries, and a lean machine pumping out hits with shocking efficiency. First, Embark knows that Metacritic doesn't pay the bills, players do, and players love the game. Even Eurogamer praises the rich PvE, the friendly community, the tense raids. The writer seems to love the game, and then docks it for using AI on things like emotes, a decision that saves time for the actors and the team. They call it abhorrent ethically. It's ridiculous. And then you had Concord, which was dead on arrival, and it got a pass. So reviewers are now going to start policing game production practices? Ooh, we don't like your engine. Is that what's next? Or maybe if a studio has too much remote work, we're going to give you a 2 out of 5? It's crazy to think that a journalist has any business telling the games industry how to make their games. This is the games industry bubble I broke down last year, where journalists can end up building a bubble, a clique where they're deciding who's in and out, and it can feel like only the popular developers get a good review regardless of what they produce. The critics prop up $400 million disasters while punishing others. Luckily, Embark already explained to players that no jobs were lost, that it was a choice to speed iteration for everyone involved. They don't need to respond to the journalists, and that's because things have changed in the industry. Journalists are largely irrelevant. The bubble is just that, a bubble. Only the clique cares. The rest of the games industry has moved on. Not only that, Arc Raiders is a live service game. The reviews of today are going to go out of date. And all of those updates that they'll be doing on a regular basis, that's where I think Embark is going to continue to shine. Here's the deal. Embark serves players, not egos or the press club. In 2021, their plan was to make a PvE-only game. They ran the tests, and minute to minute was good. It was solid. They had solid gunplay, robot slaying fun. That's not where the problem was.
Then you go into hour by hour, and then day by day, and then maybe week by week, month by month. That's where the problem starts, and you need to really make sure that you have things for players to do.
So they had to pivot. They kept what worked, scrapped the rest, and decided to make a PvP-VE extraction. For non-gamers, PvP-VE extraction is simple. Team up or backstab with strangers to loot a robot-infested wasteland, then extract alive. It's like Ocean's 11 in Mad Max. You have high risk, huge reward, and endless what-if tension. But here's the amazing part. Many of the devs worked on Battlefield. They were tired of PvP after years at DICE and EA. They didn't want to add it.
Should we consider adding the PvP component?
A lot of people, and frankly me included, wanted this to be a PvE game, and I wanted for our vision to work.
This problem isn't discussed enough in the industry, and it trips up so many experienced developers. When you start, you are the market, but tastes shift. I learned this young when I was gushing to the Age of Empires CEO about features I'd love, new units, strategies. He thanked me. And then he gently pointed out that a young woman obsessed with an RTS at that time was a complete anomaly. I was not his core market. And that humility is what saves games, and it saved Embark. Brutal playtests over personal preferences. They run the test, set their egos aside, and listen to their players. They are delivering what players want.
Someone needs to dare to say what I think is uncomfortable. That's my job. That's how I look at myself. I'm the guy that needs to point out the things that are uncomfortable. I can maybe guide people towards a direction, but ultimately they're the ones that are going to have to figure it out, right?
This is CEO Patrick Soderlund, ex-EA executive who understands leadership. He points out problems, shares opinions, then steps back, lets the team solve. He asks those dumb but difficult questions that spark real innovation, no top-down mandates. And that's why pivots work. Ownership at every level means faster fixes, and players can feel it. You can't run a 300-person studio with 2 live games and 2 more reportedly in development and think that you can make every decision as the executive. I know. I've seen execs try it. They try to add value by solving the team's problems, and that doesn't scale. And Soderlund, he scales. Then there's the publisher, Nexon. Look, they've had some challenges, and gamers aren't thrilled with some of their choices. But with Embark, maybe they've changed. Maybe they've learned, because they're certainly supporting them.
When the finals weren't, had its problems, they were like, okay, this was expected. Here's what you need to do. Think about it. Like, they were super supportive and just take your time, fix this, be patient. We were the impatient ones, not them. So that is for Embark a blessing, and they're very hands-off. They let us do our thing. They believe in us, and incredibly supportive.
This partnership appears to be working. Having run a studio of this size, I can tell you they're living the dream. Keeping these balls in the air, incredibly tough, but they're doing it. Why? Because they built the team and tools from day one with this goal in mind. They wanted custom pipelines to make the boring work vanish, freeing creators to innovate. This, combined with autonomy and no top-down management, means lean teams and massive output. This approach is counter to the bloat you've seen in the industry. And this is why it's so hard watching these big studios struggle. If Ubisoft had had patience with XDefiant, which they shut down after just a year despite early hype, could they have turned it around? Maybe Sony will take a supportive approach with Bungie's delayed Marathon. They seem to be. And maybe Xbox will quit solving their problems through layoffs. They certainly have the money, and there are still plenty of talented developers in their studios. I've noticed the old guard, the bubbled up club of the games industry, likes to take shots at successful outsiders like Embark. And I find it really perplexing and frankly a little frustrating. This industry has always evolved with technology and taste. It's a creative dialogue. We should celebrate Larian and Sandfall and Embark. Learn from them. Learn from their wins. Embark's getting it right. They're listening to their players. They're building scalable studios. They have autonomy at every level. They're delivering post-launch, and they have a 10-year plan, not a 2-month plan. No seasons, just content when it's ready. They've shown game developers a roadmap. Let's just hope more will follow.
They're just not ready. They're just not ready. But hey, at least they nominated it for something. I genuinely thought they wouldn't nominate it for anything because they were scared to get backlash. Another rigged year. That's crazy.